Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Don't Look Back, second edition from Blacksite Studio and Matt Burns, as well as the models that come with it. So for those of you who are not familiar with Don't Look Back, this is a procedurally generated slasher movie miniature game, which can be played solo or co-op against a killer who can either be sort of like procedurally generated or designed based on lots of different tropes. And this book is a culmination of all the releases in a beautiful slipcase and hardcover of the story of Northwoods, which is sort of a benighted place somewhere in the Pacific Northwest where, you know, bad things happen to teenagers, basically. It's a love letter to the horror movies of the 80s and features some beautiful miniatures, of course, sculpted by Blacksite Studio, and a lovely game by Matt Burns. Now, the game itself is quite streamlined. You have a few core stats, as well as two sort of like gauges for health. You can die two ways. You can either bleed out and bleed to death, or you can die from fear. You have your core sort of like characters you're gonna be playing with, the killer who's trying to hunt you. Supporting characters can be like personalities that show up. Like you can have, of course, just like in the movies, the NPCs that are there for a minute and then maybe, you know, get offed by the killer. And then you get your plot, your point of interest, jump scares, skill rolls, and tokens. The plot happens sort of like as you unfold the objectives of the mission, and that'll be like the main storyline that you're trying to accomplish. So let's say your car is broken down, it needs a new battery, you gotta get across the table, salvage a battery from some other vehicle, get back to the car, start it, and escape. Points of interest will be the different places on the board that are marked for you to investigate, try and find that battery maybe. Jump scares happen anytime you move within a range of a piece of terrain. Something might jump out and loom out and get to you. They become more common as the game progresses. Then your skill rolls are basically testing underneath of a stat. And your tokens are all the various things that sit on the table to mark that stuff out, like jump scares and stuff like that. You've got a wonderful sort of like core rulebook explanation here. And it starts like a lot of good rulebooks do these days, in the order in which you do things to play the game. So they start with setting up the table. What kind of game table do you want? And of course, this fits really well with Blacksite Studio in general. They're purveyors of terrain, right? Ben and Connor make beautiful MDF pre-colored terrain. In fact, they're North America's sort of like main company for doing that, although other companies are breaking into it. And they've got all the things you would want to make a cool horror movie set of actual like areas. And then you gotta set up your intensity level if you're gonna do this procedurally generated. So how bad is it gonna be? Rules to die by, play through with the rules as written. Slasher mode, killers add an extra point of terror to all their attacks. In addition, add one fright token to fright token's activation table roll. So basically when you activate the fright tokens on the table to see what they do, because the fright tokens can move around. No one gets it alive. Same as slasher mode, in addition, select an additional trait for the killer and reduce the plot's turns by one. So whatever mission you're playing, you get one less turn to do it, and you get an extra trait for this guy. Now, step two is select your killer. Now, the great thing about the killer box, when you build your own killer, what you're gonna get is you're gonna get a ton of different pieces, and you're also gonna get all the cards and the pre-generated stuff to do this with. So pieces-wise, I'm just gonna show actually the back of the box. Different heads, different bodies, so you can make a couple different killer models out of this box set. You've got like a pig's head, like a greasy strangler head. You've got like a sack head, you know, evil hillbilly with an axe head, all that different stuff. And then you have your cards for all your traits, like one step ahead. For instance, this one is place the killer on the closest plot, objective, or point of interest token on a character. In the case of a tie, the players must choose. If there's no points of interest or objectives on the table, when the killer moves, immediately choose a new modus operandi, which is the way that he kills. And then movement, when the killer moves, it may move towards the target character closest to the plot objective or point of interest. In this case, of the tie, the players can choose. So basically, he's always gonna go after you as you're about to like find the battery for the car. These are all pre-generated, so if you want, you can just shuffle and draw. And they're obviously all fairly familiar horror movie tropes. The masked killer, the mutilated Hills Have Eyes killer, a disjointed, which is sort of a ring style, you know, killer. Ethereal, you can be a ghost. Mundane, you can just be a straight up psycho. Or mutated, you can be some kind of toxic Avenger style dude. And as you do like either you pick your base one or you generate traits, you can pull the trait cards out of here to like represent what's on the cards. Like let's say I use mutilated. I could have the different attacks and traits or whatever basically be on here, and then he's got 11 wounds. His attacks are hulking blow. You're trying to roll 15 or less on a d20. Damages 3 wounds and a point of terror, or an infectious excretion, he can spray you. does a wound and a point of terror if he hits you, and it just targets all characters within 2 inches of this killer, so you just like explode. And then driven off, each time this killer is driven off, so if you lose your last wound, it gains +1 to its wounds value next time it's placed on the table. In addition, randomly determine 2 new traits for this killer, so that he mutates every time he comes back. And then special action, surprising speed. On odd numbered turns, you get +4 move, and enhanced strength on even numbered turns. The killer's attacks deal an additional wound and point of terror. So interesting sort of like tropes for you to build off of. Then you set the stage, so you divide the table usually into quadrants. You have the different types of terrain that you can place on the table. And then you're going to secure your boards and doors and windows. All the doors and windows are either open or closed. It can be locked and unlocked. And then you get to play the game. I like that this one's got like the art in here is great because this is basically like an abandoned sort of umbrella style research facility, a DeGraw, if you will. And there's lots of other monsters in here too that are available from Blacksite. And heroes, like this guy, this fisherman with his like boat hook, and then this evil fishman. The killer phase, of course, and the hero phase. Here's you do stuff when the killer arrives. If he's arrived, if he doesn't, you skip the killer phase. And the big turkey video, love that. And then how to make plots. So setting objectives, your plot objective, right? You can have things like secrets of the others, abandoned houses you have to investigate, run and hide, mystery of the runes. Then you pick the setting, whether it's like urban, subterranean, woodland, haunted, or rural. Place your fright tokens, put the starting location of the character down, and then your type of killer. So you could randomly generate them too. So 7 and 12. Players can choose any ready-made killer. 13 use Beast of the Northwoods. 14 use Living Curse, and they're all outlined here. So what's in this book that you probably wouldn't have seen in the previous edition is you're going to get all these different visions, which are the sort of packs that used to come out of characters that you could play with, and other sort of like storylines to go through as well. Like Visions 3, the seer is back. And I love this one. Yeah. As the sun rises the following morning, you've got your whatchamacallit, your seer basically trying to attack you. And then they've got their midsummer crown at the end. Corporate Casualties, a trilogy. And all these storylines give you what you need to play and your characters. The character cards here. We got Max the Abs, Seth Newton, and all the models for those are in this. Now, I do love this as a gimmick too. Everything comes packed inside of old VHS cases. I can confirm these are VHS cases because here's my copy of Akira on VHS. You could have Vampire Hunter D or Blood the Last Vampire as well if you'd like. They do fit inside these boxes. So I don't know how Connor and Ben found this many old VHS cases to pack their minis in, but I love that as a gimmick. You get all the items for these guys. So anything that came in the previous box set, like the item stack and the character stack, come in the killer expansion and stuff too, but also the rules are printed in this book. So you get them as add-ons, but if you just want to play purely out of the book, you get all the cards in here as well. So you're going to see things like their luck. It's a finite amount of rerolls you can do, their terror that they can take, their combat stat, their wound stat, their awareness stat. So if you take twice as many points of terror as your terror stat, then you die. If you hit your terror stat, you become debilitated because you're starting to freak out. Seth's got his flashlight. We got Ranger Sandy, Alice Grace, Keen Hauser, I think it's supposed to be Ken, Maya Green, Pat the Teen, and then we got all our visage cards for the different bad guys, which we just pulled out of this box over here too. So everything that you need to play is in this book, which is a cool sort of like add-on for the second edition, and of course it compiles all the previous little expansions and stuff too into these different plots. And that's it. So that is our Don't Look Back. Again, if you haven't seen the game actually played, the gameplay is pretty much like entirely the same. There's a few different like kind of odds and ends, and obviously there's tons of new scenarios in here and stuff as well as that's Midnight Club. Little Mike Flanagan in there for us. But if you want to see the gameplay, the Let's Play on this channel already, which I'll link up in the cards, as well as playing through the various character packs, which I've done before, it's all going to be identical. The main benefit of this book, obviously, is going to be you're getting a compilation of everything in one spot, in beautiful hardcover. Obviously, brand new miniatures, which are fantastic. Like you're going to get the new Pumpkin Lord there. And everything has been like sort of streamlined and zhuzhed up with all of Matt's FAQs and various sort of like tweaks. But the core game mechanics are exactly the same. The core gameplay experience can be exactly the same. And if you are looking for a fun solo cooperative adventure this fall, Don't Look Back by Matt Burns is one of my favorite horror games, as well as I would say probably one of the best things that Blacksite's put out. So to see this sort of like this retro sort of like I guess ultimate edition of it come out from Matt and the guys at Blacksite, I think is a really great add to anybody's collection. And I'm probably going to play through some of these again. I'm going to go through the scenarios I haven't played in this book, paint up the new models, and give this a go this fall, because obviously this is a perfect Halloween activity for GMG. So highly recommended Don't Look Back by Matt Burns from Blacksite Studio. If you can grab this new edition, beautiful slipcase that it comes with. And of course, if you don't have the character models already and you want to grab them, you can grab the VHS expansions that have all of these cool little add-ons. But if you just want to use these as archetypes too, you can use your own miniatures as you like, and the rules out of the box. You do have to get your item decks in here, which are super handy, and you get your trait decks in here for the killer. But like I said, they're relatively unchanged from the previous ones. So if you have this stuff already in your last edition, you're not missing out on anything, and you can just play right away. I do think presenting it that way, where you kind of had these as options, you didn't have to buy everything at once, was a smart idea. But if you're looking at this as a starter set, these things together, and you've got sort of the complete contents of Don't Look Back. So big thanks for Connor and Ben sending this along for me to check out. To Matt for all the hard work he's done working on it. And for you guys for watching, thanks, Tom Ash. Gaming.